Sweet, good to go. Welcome.
Thank you.
We finally made it.
There we go. It's been, tell you what,
Oh,
what a turnaround.
Yeah, I know. It happens though with schedules. You're a busy man.
That's life.
I know. What's news? Tell me. Haven't seen you for some time.
It has been a while. I've had a bit of a change of course in life. Moved out of surf life saving. Got myself into open water swimming a little bit more. Been doing a lot of open water swimming with Ty Dowker. You know Ty? The nipper coach at Burleigh Heads, good mate of mine. We've been friends. We made the state team together in 1986. So been mates.
Way back when.
Been mates since then, and we started a Sunday, saltwater Sunday, during winter, and had a really good success, and we've just branched off and taken a lot of swimming lessons.
So you do, so it's customised now.
Yeah, customised being that a lot of people on the Gold Coast really struggle with the ocean. It's hard because
Believe it or not.
Yeah, unbelievably, you live with it in your backyard, but these guys are fearful of what's out in the ocean, obviously with everything that's happened in the last few months. But more than anything, they don't know how to read the rips. They don't know what a sandbank, where the waves are coming, what the wind's doing, and I'm into that now, so starting to teach people.
It's actually pretty incredible how little knowledge people have of the ocean, yet they spend so much time in it. Like you look at even like surfers, some guys will, you tell people, whenever people say to me, oh, I want to learn to surf, I'm like, well, can you swim?
And they can't.
And they can't swim. I say, well, you probably start there because, that board's not helping you.
Yeah,
and if you can swim, then you get a good idea of, the way things work a little bit and what you're capable of and not capable of. But it'd be pretty incredible the amount of people who are learning to surf out there.
They can't swim.
Can't even swim.
I'm amazed at the Gold Coast how many people try and learn to surf on a small 6'2" thruster.
Yeah.
And they think they're going to go straight to a professional surfboard and stand up and kill it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's that false,
That's right.
They learn to surf. That's what surfboard shops are. I bet they must just lick their lips and they see people coming. Oh, you're a little girl. You'll use
Yeah, straight.
They want the cute board, eh?
Straight to the pretty one.
Yeah, exactly. So saltwater, so that's pretty much, what's it called? Burleigh?
We do Saltwater Sundays was during winter.
Yeah.
So it was a 12-week program. It was open up to anyone who wanted to jump in and have a go. It was quite cool. What we did was we had, it was pretty structured so that one week would be, we'd work on skills on the beach. Yep. Another week we'd work in the creek. And then every third weekend, we went to a different location. And it was a bit of a surprise. So we swam over Kira Reef. We swam from Currumbin Pirate Park all the way out, right back down to Palm Beach Surf Club and back in.
Yep.
And we were basically just taking people all around the coast and giving them an opportunity to see how good the locations are.
Because it doesn't really seem to be harnessed, does it? Like, it feels like there should be more events here.
Yeah, I agree.
But, I don't know, the councils.
The amazing thing is our water clarity. When you actually get out there, if you've got a clear pair of goggles or a not too tinted pair of goggles, there is just so much to see. Yeah. The marine life is fantastic. And we swam over Kira Reef, and that's one of the Gold Coast's greatest secrets. People don't realise we had pot of dolphins come past us. We had gannets diving in and landing next to us. We had turtles. We had wobbegong sharks. We had everything.
Yeah.
And we had probably about 120 people swim with us, and they were blown away. It was fantastic.
Yeah, because you don't think of it like that, do you?
No.
How many people do you think actually their fear of the ocean is not necessarily the water, it's what's beneath?
Oh, I'd say 95%.
Yeah. Because I still think of it. Like when I'm in the ocean, you can't help but not go, oh, what's under, I shudder the amount, you're probably a lot more than me, but I shudder to think how many times something swum under me and I've just never seen it.
Yeah, I think right now what's happening is everyone's got so many drones and there's so many different ways of seeing things that we've never known about.
Yep.
I remember taking you for a training session back in the day, and Ollie Puddick and I were the only two that saw the actual shark behind the whole squad.
Yeah.
And I called go, and the second everyone bolted, the shark went away. And
thank you.
I mean, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Thanks for telling me. Yeah,
they're everywhere.
I remember being in the canal with you one day and you said, hey, lift your legs up.
Yeah.
I said, why? And you go, everybody up, lift it.
Yeah, many a time. So many a time I've seen the bottom of the water moving, and they're so dark when they swim past.
Yeah.
But I mean, unless you're doing something to them, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I understand. So when it comes to like the ocean and things like that, is that something, have you sort of gone, you obviously finished coaching and then you sort of went away, didn't you? You sort of did some other things. I know when I spoke to you, you were out west for a bit.
Yeah, we sort of stopped the world I want to get off. I got the wife and the kids and we went and travelled. We did homestaying for 2 years.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So we actually went and looked after pets and animals in people's places. It's pretty crazy that there's so many people out there that want to go on holidays.
Yep.
They want someone to look after their property. It's totally free. You don't have to pay anything. And we looked after some of the most amazing farms.
Yeah.
I learnt really fast that I am not a farmhand.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you have to shovel the whatever it's called from one field to the other to make sure that the grass doesn't. There's so many factors of it.
Yeah.
And not only that, you got to wake up at sparrow's fart and get out there and clean and move and shovel and it's full on.
So it's a work.
It is. It's hard work.
Yeah.
You're toiling all day. And the kids went from a beach life to all of a sudden the wheelbarrow shoveling shit, and it was fantastic.
I guess that's probably a good thing, though, to teach them that it's not all beer and skittles, you know, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think more than anything, it's that, you know, we live a pretty privileged life, letting them appreciate everything from day dot. And when they went out there, and I mean, we were up at Gympie at one point. We were looking after this farm on Gympie. While we were there, a goat was born. Two lambs died. So we had to learn with death. We had to learn with birth. We had pigs, we had cows, we had horses. It was phenomenal. It was one of the best experiences.
Yeah.
And from that, it's life-changing for the kids.
Yeah. I can imagine we on a similar... I know there's a lot out at my house because my wife collects animals. So whenever we want to go away, it's a rigmarole to go and do anything. But there was a lady, the same thing. She was actually retired, and she just would come and stay. And she probably couldn't run a farm. Like, you know, you need a few people, but she would just look after it and love it. And
it's great.
She was so busy. Like, she was in demand.
We were that point too.
Yeah.
We were booked out. So people would ring us up and say, look, we love your profile.
Yeah.
We love what you're all about. We're going away at this date. And we were booked out for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
It was great.
So you just cruised in?
Just cruised, went wherever. Went wherever the day took us. Yeah.
How good's that? So what made you give that up?
Trevor rang me and said, look, we are looking for a nipper coach at Surfers Paradise. He's been a very close friend for many years, and went down there and had 2 years with the guys at Surfers. It was fantastic getting back to my old club.
Yep.
Got back in there, and not only that, the kids got to do it as well. And then got to the point where we wanted to move back Burleigh way.
Yeah.
Came down, and then we were just about to launch our open water swimming business, and then Burleigh came and asked me to come and be the head coach down there. Took about 3 or 4 visits. I wasn't into it. I didn't want to do it. I'd had enough of coaching, but they were pretty persuasive. And we lived straight across the road, so it was a pretty good fit. Living at La Pacific and walking 70 steps to the surf club. It's nice and easy. Yeah. So the kids loved it.
Yeah. And you're still there now?
Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
Still a part of Burleigh. Not going to leave Burleigh Surf Club, but just finished with coaching.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys will be probably watching this, but committees I'm not a fan of. I want to be in it because I love it, and I love surf club. I always will, but I'm just going to do my thing now.
I think if you speak to any coach, that would probably be like a resonating theory. Well, not theory, but resonating opinion as the committees, because it becomes difficult, doesn't it? Because you
remember what I was all about.
Yes.
Yeah, you train. You train hard, but it's about fun.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a living from it. It's all about getting out there and enjoying the experience. And I'm a really big fan of life skills. I really strive on teaching kids not just surf club stuff, but everything during your daily lessons and preparation, and how to set up your day and what those routines are, so that you create good habits for the rest of your life. And I love that side of it. And it was sort of getting away from me on that side, so I had to step out.
It's quite strange also once you start into that industry, how many, like when you have kids come in, when you're coaching, how many kids are like deficient in certain parts. Like, and you'd see it so much where you'd be like, oh, this kid just needs a little bit of a persuasion this way and that way. And
that's right.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with coaching for me, I think, is that every person's different.
Yeah.
I don't treat them as one mould fits all. So I love to find the intricate little parts of how each person works. So every single person's got a trigger. Once you find that trigger, well, then that works on getting them to the best of their ability.
Yeah. Just pull that a bit closer. There we go.
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, I noticed that too. You're like, obviously, because I've spent a bit of time with you as well, and it does resonate too, that fun sort of thing where you're like, we're not always here to, because you had those coaches. I know there was a few places up north, a wee bit further from where we were, and it was structured, wasn't it? Like
That's
it
right.
was always, you knew what they were going to do. They had about 6 or 7 sessions, and it was just a variation of each.
Yep.
But we'd show up to the beach and not even know. Yeah. We could be going surfing that day.
That's right.
You'd just say we're off down there, and no one would know.
I can remember as a kid, one of my coaches when I was very young was very repetitious, and it was the same thing over and over, and I made a pact to myself at the age of about 13 that if I was ever going to coach, I wouldn't do the same session twice, and if I did, it'd be at least 4 weeks later. Yeah. And I've taken that with me my whole way in coaching. So do you, because you're a bit of a, what's the word? Not a weirdo, not a freak, when it comes to just being able to show up and actually race and not have to necessarily train or prepare the best. Yep.
What sort of, like, when did that start? Did you, and also it always interested me a little bit before you go into it, that could be seen as a weakness because you would assume that you wouldn't have to train, and you could think, oh, I'm just going to be able to get through this. You know what I mean? Like if you're given that sort of
totally rain,
then you can be like, oh, well, I can just I can phone this in.
Well, two guys got me. One guy, Todd Borland, when I was 10. He trained me when I was a nipper. At the time, he was 18, and we just hit it off. He was a great kid, and he could see that I had a little bit of talent.
Yeah.
And then once I finished with him, Jonathan Crowe, who's basically my mentor, he grabbed me and said, look, I think it's time for you to do the series properly. And I went from being just a kid, just having fun.
Yep.
I was the guy at the end of the lane that was sitting on the bottom of the pool blowing bubbles, and everyone didn't like me. But when it came time to switch on, I loved it. And Dean Mercer, I remember when I was 15, he actually pushed me one day in the pool and totally changed my outlook on how I thought about swimming. And I was just always mucking around.
Yeah.
And then at the age of 15 is where I realised that if I actually put the hard work in, I can actually achieve goals and win some races. And from that, I was quite lucky that I could go to a race and catch a wave or be in a pretty treacherous position and come out on top.
Yep.
But that was just self-belief. I loved the ocean, and I used to spend hours and hours on end. I'd go out for a body bash, and it'd be a 4-hour affair.
Yeah.
And I'd do that every day for weeks on end over school holidays. And from that, I learned all the little tiny intricate things, and I was just confident that I could do that when it come race day.
Yeah. We had Trev in here as well, and he was saying the same thing. Not so much the same thing, but his theory is people underestimate how much
skills and fun have.
Yeah, skills and fun, but also like being in touch with what you're doing. Like he sort of said, like he had, because he's quite, like, very holistic in the way he approaches stuff. Know that. Yes, I can imagine. And he said that like when he's sort of more in touch with the ocean, things like that, things start to happen. Yeah. And I guess there's people that probably go into races or situations, and the minute they fall off the back or and get in them, like you said, a treacherous position, they'll just think, oh, it's over.
Well, that's
the difference, isn't it?
That's the mindset, and that comes down to coaching as well. That's cues. So you've got to actually teach your brain every time something bad happen. You've got to have an avenue to go the right way or the wrong way.
Yeah.
I call it the good devil and the bad devil. They sit on your shoulder, and it's really easy to hear the negative all the time.
Yeah.
But I love to try and turn it to the positive, and I used to set myself cues. So when I was racing the Tobies, if something went bad, I'd have a cue for if I got hit by a wave on the ski, okay, my next 5 strokes is really important. Make sure you look where the nose of the ski is, plenty of reach.
Yep.
And I had cues for every problem that was going to happen so that I knew that if it did, I was going to be covered.
And then was that coached to you, or do you decide that yourself?
No, Jonathan taught me a lot of that.
Yep.
So Crowe was really good with teaching all of that. He's very serious. He's going to laugh when he sees this, but he's very serious. If we went to go do a board session and I'd try and sneak off and catch waves, he'd yell and scream at me and tell me not to do that, because it was all structured. It was all about making sure you did the Ks and you did the hard work.
Yep.
Whereas I was more about skills and having fun and learning that side of it. But he was really, really good with that side, mentally teaching me how to prepare for a big race. And I went into it at a very young age. So it was good.
How old were you when you won that? What year was that? And you won I remember telling us about it. You came out of... Like you just won. I know you won the last race, which made you
18. So just turned 18.
So you just turned 18. Yeah.
So that was Trevor and I. It's actually a pretty funny story. Not that it's the best one to tell, but a few people have heard it. But I never forget. Back then you had to make the top 20 to be contracted, and that meant you got your airfares and accommodation plus $100 per diem every time you went to a race.
Yeah.
That $100 was huge for me for an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And it came in a little envelope. So
was that for all your like protein shakes?
Yeah. So we went through the whole season, and the last 3 races I ended up getting 3rd, then 2nd, and we went to Portsea, and no matter what happened, I was coming 6th overall. Even if I didn't finish the race, I was going to qualify for the top 20. So I was over the moon, and I'd never been to Portsea, and it was this infamous Portsea where Trevor had won the last 5 years or whatever it was.
That's known for turning to shit in at Portsea.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. And I never forget the day we got there. We pulled up in the Tarago, we walked up to the hill, and there's this big copper log, and Trev's leaning over the edge, and we'd just become friends in that 12 months, and we kicked it off pretty well. And I walked up, and it was just so daunting. You're 400 foot above the cliff, and it was probably about 6 to 8 foot, and Corey Hutchins was standing on his yellow board going across the wave, flying across the wave. Yeah. And my heart's beating so fast, and Trev looked at me and he said, "You want to learn how to win at Portsea?" I said, "Oh, mate, I'd love to. What tips have you got?" He said, "Come on." We jumped in the Tarago and went to the pub. So we spent the day at the pub. We had a great day, and he said, "It's all about relaxing. You've already done the work. Nothing you do now in between now and the next day when we're going to race is going to change the fact that you're ready." He said, "You've had a second, you've had a first." Anyway, we went down to the beach and the gun went bang. Trev, I think at the time, was going for the Olympics.
Yep.
So he came in on the first wave and held it straight, and then the next wave, everyone slewed. I was on the far right, and I held it. So we went from having a great day at the pub to being a minute 30 in front of the whole field.
First and second.
First and second.
Yeah.
And for an hour and a half, we just battled it out. Trevor'd lead, then I'd lead, my hero.
Yeah.
And it came down to the last run leg, and I was a pretty light little fella, and I got away with the win.
That would have been, how good was that? Like,
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
racing.
I can still remember to this day the run. So as I did the last run leg, I just kept saying to myself, what do I do now? I'm going to win. And I'd never won. I'd never won a big time event. So it was, and I was really nervous. I wasn't caring about the race or anything. I just didn't know what to do when I crossed the line, and there's the tape and all these cameras. And it's actually quite funny if you look at it. I so much didn't know what to do that I looked down.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the camera. So I don't even have a good photo of it because I've got my head down. I'm so embarrassed about winning.
It's weird, to think that it's, because you shouldn't have been there, really.
100%.
Like, it's not, well, I mean, you did the work and everything. It's not luck, but you shouldn't, like, you weren't meant to be there.
Yeah, totally.
Especially being at the pub the day before.
Well, I think what that did was it just put me in a mindset that these guys aren't, the gods that I've put them up on their pedestal to be. I realised that they're all just human. And it took me a long time to realise that, because like the years before leading into it, Todd Ball and Jonathan Crowe were in the Uncle Toby's when I was a kid. I used to go to the surf club every Sunday to watch them, and I would sit this far from the screen and I would scream so hard, and that's all I wanted to be. I wanted to be them. I wanted to copy my heroes.
We had a similar thing. I remember there being a poster. It was a poster of you at Ocean Beach, which is a beach in the middle of nowhere in Hawke's Bay, like out, 40 minutes out of town. Yeah. And there's a poster, and I think actually a mate of mine signed it with your name.
Oh, yeah?
It wasn't your signature. I don't think it was anyway. Or maybe it was your signature or someone else's anyway. But I remember thinking, there's no way that anybody's ever going to get to what... Like, I remember thinking that was so untouchable.
Yeah.
That photo.
That's how I was
I think it was you coming down a wave. It was one of those Nutrigrain posters or Uncle Toby's posters. And it was just, like, iconic.
Yeah.
And then we came over to Australia, and then I met you, and I was like, well, he's just a normal guy.
That's right. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, it's not, like, obviously an awesome athlete, awesome Ironman, but it's like, there's no
just a normal
different
person.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny the mentality we have of what our heroes are? We put them on such high pedestals. And then you meet them, and it's like, wow, he's a normal human being.
Yeah, it's just a normal human being that can do other stuff.
Yeah,
or has worked hard. And that's the biggest thing I think people realise, overnight successes take 10 years sometimes.
I used to love. I used to always catch waves, and everyone used to say I was a jagger. But how can you jag that many times in a row?
Yeah,
Continually dragging.
Yeah.
I mean, I practiced my surf skills so relentlessly over and over.
Yep.
That's just, you put yourself in the right position.
Well, that's just easy for people to say.
Yeah.
Because they don't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just an easy cop out. I lost because Phil jagged it.
Yeah.
No, doesn't work like that.
Nah.
Yeah.
There's a great young kid coming through at the moment, Kai Kinsella. I don't know if you know Kai from. He's at Burleigh at the moment. He's got skills, that kid. So he finishes every session. Kingy's doing a great job down there at Burleigh.
Yeah.
He finishes every session, and you can actually see him go off on his own, and he'll be out there for another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And he body surfs. He practices going sideways on his ski.
Yep.
And come race day, guess who's winning the races?
Yeah.
Every time.
It's those extras. Like you see footy players that go off, they finish training, then they go and do their extras, their goal kicking and everything.
1%ers.
Yeah. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
Yeah.
How'd you go with the 1%ers, John?
I had to go home. We'd go to the pub, so that was your fault. You'd leave me astray.
My fault.
Yeah.
Someone else's fault.
Yeah. I was just, God, get me out of here.
Good days.
Yeah, good days. Yeah, for sure. So I'm keen to go into like that Uncle Toby stuff as well, because that was such a, what's the word? Like iconic era, or like had a lot of nostalgia to it, because that just doesn't exist anymore. And I wonder, I don't think that, how do I put this? I don't think that kids that were your age watching the TV in front of it, I'd say there'd be less of them nowadays watching the Nutrigrain series now than there was kids your age watching the Ironman, or kids maybe watching you, because it was the summer sport. Like even Trev said that. He's like, it was
There was only four sports,
Cricket,
golf, motorsport, tennis when it came through, and footy. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And not only that, there was no other avenues for social media. There was no, I used to love my surfing mags.
Yeah.
I used to have to save money every week to go and buy Surfing Life.
Yeah.
We couldn't just go online and look at people surfing. Everything was so structured, and you knew exactly what time an event was going to be on. So the lead up to it was exciting. You knew you got 4 weeks until the next one. Yeah. I used to go to school and we'd talk about who we were going to be. At lunch, we'd go and put our vests on and pretend we were Ironman running around the back of the school. It was great.
Yeah.
And that era is gone. Not only that, I think a really big factor is that there's so many extreme sports at the moment that it's sort of taken the polish off what we did.
Yep.
I think the fact that we went so hard in our sport over a prolonged amount of time, and I'm actually amazed that we had such an audience, because the reality is it's pretty boring to watch a 2-hour race.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're totally engrossed in it and you've got some family or someone, it's boring stuff. Unless we go to Portsea and it's 8 foot and skis are flying everywhere and they're nearly drowning and they're on the borderline of death, and that's what brings viewers in. At the moment, unfortunately, the structure and the way that Nutrigrain have gone has been more about, I think it's been more about sales than it has been about the competition. And I think a real letdown from Nutrigrain has been they haven't promoted stars. So when you were young, when I was young, you talked about that poster. Trevor Hendy, Guy Leach, Guy Andrews, those guys were Jonathan Crowe, Todd Ball, they were unbelievable. They were gods. Like they would walk anywhere and people would be, that's how
household names.
Yeah, totally, 100% right now. So why isn't, Shannon Eckstein, amazing, the greatest of all time, but he should be so much bigger. Like he should be one of Australia's greatest all-time athletes.
Yeah.
Zane Holmes, what he's done in the sport is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Even Kendrick Louis winning, Matt Poole, Bevy, all those guys, they should be such bigger athletes in the eyes of Australians. But for some reason, the promotional side of it hasn't worked.
Do you think that's it? Do you think they just haven't been pushed? Because I've got a bit of like when they did that Iron X, they decided that was coming in. And I know some people embraced it and some people sort of, I can understand why they didn't, shunned it. But I just couldn't, and like I'm from the outside looking in, I just couldn't understand why you would shun it when it was going to try and make your sport more profitable. And maybe make you more of a household name. Like all of that stuff, maybe that was like the avenue to go down.
I agree that it's crazy that they've gone down the path of doing something so alternate. But they're just trying to appease to the crowds. Now, what people don't realise is that I spoke about it before. Me being a kid sitting in front of the TV is because I was involved. I had my heroes. The guy that sits out at Mount Druitt, he doesn't know who Matt Bevilacqua or Matt Poole or Kendrick Louis is. So they're trying to appeal to people that can do anything, which is climbing a rope, doing whatever. And it's strange that they've mixed it in, but they were trying to make an extreme sport, and I was all for it. I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah. And because it's bullshit that they were going to try and get CrossFit athletes to try and compete with them. That was never going to happen.
Yeah, never going to happen.
As soon as they said that,
I went down and watched it, and I was actually there, and by the time they got back after going under the ropes over the first two, they were gassed.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mate, these are fit guys, and they were puffing like there was no tomorrow. So
Kane won it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He just got into a rhythm, and he's light. He's got superpower. He was flying over it.
He won everything, that bloke.
Yeah, no. He's good.
Yeah.
He's great for the sport. He promotes the sport. He's very good on social media. I mean, that's the avenue it's gone down now. It's all about how many followers you got. Back in our day, we didn't have that. So we were promoted we had a company called IRPR, Ingrid Ropers was the lady. And just to explain it, that people don't realise, we used to rock up to a race and we'd have a media release book. In that media release book would be every athlete's name, what their whole profile is. We then go into what the race is, fully set out what the rules are.
Yep.
Every book was this big, and we'd go and do a press conference before it. It was next level. There'd be 10 or 15 different camera crews there, and then you break off and you do radio, then you go and hop in the Triple M car, then you...
Yeah, wow.
It was unbelievable. These days, they just don't do that. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, because it didn't do signings and stuff at the shopping malls and...
Well, that was a part of your contract. You had to go and turn up and sit in the mall out at Mount Druitt, like I said. People are just going, who is this bloke giving away Uncle Toby's? And they'd come and try and take 20 boxes of it.
Yeah.
They'd even send us to a nightclub the night before the event.
Really?
Yeah, so... But the great thing about that was if you go to the nightclub, you wouldn't drink. You'd go in there, you'd get on the mic, you'd do a little bit of promo.
Do you expect me to believe that?
Yeah. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, okay.
No, you wouldn't. Good. You'd have 1 or 2 beers.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But what had happened is all those people are having a fantastic night. They've got a skinful under the belt. You start talking about the event tomorrow. Guess who turns up tomorrow?
Yeah.
They were all there. So we'd do that at Portsea. You'd go to Sorrento to the pub, and then the next day you'd have, they were getting 5,000 and 10,000 people on the beach.
Yeah.
That's just smart promotion.
I don't... it's just such a shame. And I was talking to Kev Morrison, from Northcliffe.
Yep.
I was talking to him about 2 or 3 days ago, and I was saying that about the Iron X and that is like the Big Bash 2020.
Yeah.
They've tried to make it like something because I watch that
fun
all the time. It's fun because it's quick, 3 hours. You're over. You can watch it. You can sort of tune in, tune out. You can have a look on your phone while you don't have to be engaged in it. You could probably do the same thing. But the Ironman stuff, that long 2 hour stuff, is like Test cricket. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. I don't mind watching it because I'm a supporter of it, and I know what I'm watching. But I can understand why someone changes the channel and sees like one that goes, oh, yeah, okay.
We did a
Especially
race.
It's flat.
We did a race in about 2004, maybe 2003. I can't remember the date, but it was at North Burleigh. And the first ski leg, which we had to go through twice, the first ski leg, we had to do a 1K run to start, I think it was, and then we had to paddle all the way down to Burleigh and back. Like, that's 2K down, 2K back.
Yeah.
No one on the beach could see us. And they're filming us. The poor guys having a talk, Tim Bailey and Mick Porra. I don't know how they spoke for that long. And we did the whole first round, then we came back and we did it all again. So we went for 2 hours. Like, that's just killer.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to keep people interested doing that stuff. It's got to be short, punchy, fast. But more than anything, I think big surf.
Yeah.
I think I love it when it's really big. I actually love the nervous part of it. I love going out there when you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on the edge here. Should I or shouldn't I?
Yeah.
That's what the people want to see.
Yeah.
They want to see us performing. And I go back to, first and foremost, we're here in our business because we're here to save lives. We're lifesavers.
Yeah.
We should be put in the toughest conditions because that's when people drown. So why can't we go out there and practice it?
Yeah, and like a flat day is almost like a nightmare for a producer.
Don't even hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go over the back and run through a golf course or do something different.
Yeah.
Climb a tree.
But that's it though, like that big surf, and then because I guess when people on TV subconsciously they see these Ironmen going out, braving these tough conditions,
Become heroes.
well they come down the beach and they assume that all those people sitting under that tent can do the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
Little do they know.
Little they're volunteers.
They're volunteers, but still it's that aura that you want to provide.
Yeah.
And the aura's sort of gone. I don't know the answer, but it seems like a shame because it's such a iconic and nostalgic sport that
I think they're just got to get the right PR. I just think they're putting the money in the wrong things. You've got to.
Do they have money to put in?
Well, it's really hard now because I think Kellogg's are actually in charge of the whole package. So they dictate and pull every string on marketing, media, promotion, how to set the beach up, paying the athletes, contracts, all contractors. So once that happens, the negotiating skills are gone. You can't negotiate with anyone because one person says the buck stops with me.
Yep.
And I just don't think that they're putting the money in the right spot. For me, if I was running it, I'd be putting the money I'd pick 12 guys and I'd say, okay, for the next 3 years, we're going to promote you on everything. You're going to be on the Today Show. You're going to be on Channel 7 with Koshy. You're going to do everything. And you'd be doing weather. You'd be doing absolutely everything across the board. Get them in the motorsports. Get them so that people go, wow, that's a familiar face. And we know it. They become iconic.
And that's the miss too, isn't it? Because like you look at a sport like the UFC, how fast that company has brought the athletes up because they pump so much money into creating the story.
Yeah.
And like you almost need to say to one guy, look, someone like, I don't know, Paulie, and say, I want you to be the villain.
Yeah.
Like I want you to start talking. He is, isn't he? Yeah, I don't know. Probably Kane. Yeah. Well, he goes, I just want you to, like, Kane would probably play it pretty well.
He would.
Just talk. I just need you to talk shit left, right, and centre. Why is everybody up about it? But just start.
Well, you need a hero and a villain. That's just life.
Because no one's invested.
That's right. There's got to be a good and evil.
Look like Floyd Mayweather. Everyone tunes in to watch him lose.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless they're a fan. They want him to win. You want to tune in to watch. And someone like Kane, who's, more often than not, right up there, he'd be the villain.
Well, the year that he won the Nutrigrain, the series, was fantastic. He was cranky, he was angry, but it's what people wanted. Yeah. It was really entertaining.
They should have harnessed that.
And everyone turned up to watch Kane because he was a cranky, angry racer, but he killed it. He did so much for the sport. It was great.
Yeah. Or like go to the interview. Go to the interview when he wins and just brush the microphone and walk off. Like,
well, that's what Leachy used to do. You ever see Leachy when he did? Leachy did the Coolangatta Gold. Geez, he makes me laugh, that guy. He's doing the Coolangatta Gold, running back in the dark, and the lights are on him and the car's behind him, and he shooed the car off because they weren't going fast enough. Just brilliant. Yeah. He was the cranky one. He goes over and, where's my goggles? He's a crazy man. It was great.
But that's exactly what they need. Just say to someone like that, Kane, I need you to be. Yeah. And don't do interviews.
That comes down to PR, though. They need to get the right people in the right job.
It's like we spoke about, isn't it? Like they need to wise them up about it. Yeah, he'd be the... Now that I think, Kane, he was telling me about Portsea. He just wanted to go home. He was coming down the hill to go to Portsea, and he's like, I just wanted to go home.
Oh, Kane said that?
Yeah, Kane said that. He's like, I got there, and he goes, it was cold.
Yeah, it's miserable.
He goes, miserable. He's like, I just wanted to be anywhere but there. I think he might have, he did quite well, obviously, but...
Once you check out of there, it's so hard to go well.
Yeah.
Once your brain's not in it, it is just so tough to race well there.
Yeah. It would be similar. Did you ever race at Piha?
Yeah, I was in that.
Would have been similar to there, wouldn't it? Because that's a pretty gnarly spot too if it blows up.
Well, that first one that we did was very frightening. I'm not going to lie. I was really scared. Like, it was big. We went out for a warm-up before it. The only way we could get out was by going over next to, I think it's
like a rock wall, eh?
Yeah,
you got to get out.
And we were literally within 4 feet of the rock, and we were paddling out, and once we got out, those skis are 18 foot. You're taking 5 or 6 strokes up the face of a wave.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, this just isn't right. We should be out here.
It's not safe.
And then in the footage, you can actually see we swim out to the can. I think it was Hacky, Wilco, Nath Meyer, and myself are the first 4 that get there.
Yeah.
And as we're just about to get to the can, about 8 foot of whitewash comes through. We all just stopped, and we actually named it the Piha Bob. Everyone pushing up like that. And this 8 foot of whitewash came through, and I just thought, this is crazy. What are we racing in this for?
Yeah.
It was unreal.
I bet you looked at with fond memories on that times, like, because how many years did you race in that series?
Oh, gosh, 18 through till I was about 25, 26 maybe. Yeah.
I bet you saw some sights.
The bit that's really annoying for me is more than anything is that I didn't realise what we had at the time. We took it for granted. It was just, we expected that it was just going to keep flowing and flowing.
Yep.
If I could relive it, I'd embrace every moment.
Yep.
I'd embrace it so much, and they're such wonderful mates of mine, and we're going to be mates forever. And man, we had fun.
Yeah,
we had a great time.
Yeah,
it was really good.
I can, and because you look, I can imagine what you look at it. You look like this is just going to continue.
We thought that.
Yeah.
So the year that we went down to when it was actually cold, we thought we were going to sign contracts. They flew us all into Sydney, and they said, "Oh, look, you're coming down."
Hey, rises.
They said, "Don't tell anyone." And I said to Steve King, I'm like, "Mate, you're going?" Yeah. Oh wow, we're all going down. We thought we were going down to re-sign our contract.
Yeah.
The second I walked in the room and they had it set up so the girls and the guys were there, I was like, oh, it's all over. Ooh. And knew it straight away. I think a really big part of that was the Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics came along and everyone wanted to put their money into 2000.
Yeah.
And I think that really hurt the back pocket of everyone.
And because wasn't a lot of it, I always understood as well that it was Kellogg's and Uncle Toby's were sort of competing at the same time. They had similar series, so it was almost like they wanted the best series. Someone wanted the best, event.
The greatest era was when the Mercer brothers, Darren and Dean Mercer, also Wollongong guys, my heroes growing up, when those two were racing the Uncle Toby's guys, which was Leachy and Trevor and all those guys, it created a war. It was unbelievable. So
conflict.
To give you the example, we had, and I was Kellogg's all the way because Darren and Dean were in the squad, and Jonathan and Todd were only just coming into the Uncle Toby's. So the Uncle Toby's guys came to Wollongong and they went to a football match, and I'll never forget it. Darren and Dean walked out. I'm pretty sure Darren and Dean were there, or they might not have been. But when the Uncle Toby's guys walked out, they got booed. That's how much Wollongong backed Darren and Dean. They loved them so much. And I'm in the crowd. I was booing. I'm booing Iron Man. Next minute, people started throwing tins at them, telling them to leave. That's how passionate Wollongong was about the Mercer brothers and how much we loved them that much.
Yeah. That
the Uncle Toby's guys walked in, and Grant Kenny, Guy Leach, Trevor, I think Barry Newman might have been there, and Scotty Robbo, Johnny Robbo, sorry. When they walked in, they got booed out. It was phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. That's how invested everyone was in the sport.
But that's perfect, isn't it? That's why it becomes so big.
Creates a storm.
Yeah, because they're the villains. Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm.
I remember we had Guy. I was speaking with Guy about it too, Guy Andrews, and he was saying that about he had some conflict when it came to his surf club not letting him sign with Uncle Toby's.
I think that was Tugan back when he was younger, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe it was Tugan. They were saying, look, you've either got to race at the.
So he was another hero of mine, and don't quote me on this, but I think when he won the junior Ironman at the Aussies, I was a young kid coming through and watched that. He was a few years older than me, but I saw all of that because my dad's been to like 1,000 Aussie titles.
Yeah.
And then he was going over to Uncle Toby's or Kellogg's, and he was the next big thing, and everyone was talking about this young up-and-coming guy, Guy Andrews. And I think it took him a little bit longer than normal, if that's right, for him to sign up.
Yeah, well, I'm blanking on the story a little bit, but it was something like his surf club had basically said, if you sign with them, you can't race at Aussies anymore.
Well, because that's Kellogg's was Nutrigrain sanctioned.
Yeah.
So it's run by the Big Five at Kellogg's.
So he was in trouble, and in the end he signed, and it all went away and everything. But it was a huge conflict of interest when they were like, well, you can't do this because of this. And
people didn't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you signed with one, it was you naughty person.
And like you said, that's what conflict. That's what brings it.
How do we do it, Jono? How do we bring that back?
Well, I think I'm the right person. I just need some money.
Get Makita on board.
Yeah. That's Milwaukee, mate.
Oh, Milwaukee, sorry.
You get your tools right.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah. It just all depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a shame. With money, and like you're saying, build those characters. And I think the villain would be perfect. Perfect.
I think that's why Hayley Badup went so well in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had that character about her, and people just loved it.
Just swagger.
Yeah, it's exactly right. They loved it. They want to follow someone that's a little bit different, that's a little bit unique, and that they can really resonate to.
Yeah, I understand. What's because you're highly competitive as well, you know, with your sport. And I spoke to Trev about this because I've always been intrigued how people, when they stop racing, and you see it with athletes all the time, like they don't know, to the point now where Michael Jordan still bets $100,000 on a hole of golf. When does that stop, or how do you put a...
It's really funny.
Damper on that.
Great question. On last Monday, I went to a ski training session with Kingy, Michael King at Burleigh, and he said to me, he just laughed at me. He said, "What are you doing?" Yeah. He said, "You're 45 years of age." He goes, "I've got no interest in getting in and doing that and being up against those guys whatsoever." For me, I've still got the burn. I got to be honest. If I could don the cap and race it at my best, I'd give it a crack. Yeah. I haven't lost that yet, so I'm waiting for that day when that finally comes and it dies down. So it still hasn't gone? No, not at all. Even when I actually went training on Wednesday and I jumped in and I thought it was ski training. It turned out to be an iron session, 45-minute continuous iron. At 36 minutes, I spewed everywhere. And Kingy's laughing at me again. He goes, "You're an idiot." Yeah. So I don't know. I still haven't lost it. I still want to try and race him and try and beat everyone. Yeah. So it doesn't go in. Yeah, because I think what Trev said, obviously, and again, like the holistic side of things, he sort of traced back to why he felt like he needed to be competitive. And once he, or needed to have that fire, and once he'd figured out what drove him to be that way, he sort of understood it a wee bit more, and he was okay with hanging the shoes up. You know, he was okay with stopping. But I know what it is that drives me. It's nothing short of just wanting to beat that younger kid. Yeah, I've still got that. Yeah, from what I was when I was 18, trying to beat the older hero, I've still got that. I find it thrilling. I love the buzz after it when you finish training. Yeah, I love the banter. I love, "Oh, you didn't have a go on that one," or I love that stuff. I still enjoy it immensely. Yeah, you still want to be the best out there, and it doesn't change. If I won the lotto, I'd go back and try and have a crack at being a pro Ironman. Really? Yeah, I love it. It's good fun. Why not? Yeah, because that's it. It's a time investment. Yeah. And I've spoken to people about that before. Like, they don't. I've said, like, do you realise what those guys train like? Like, it doesn't, like, you pick a guy like Shannon Eckstein, he'd probably make the Olympics for kayaking if he put his mind to it, and maybe swimming as well. That's because of that. Yeah, yeah. And then board paddling, he'd go and win the Molokai if he wanted to. Yeah, he'd kill everyone. Yeah. Running, probably, I'm not sure, but I think his Achilles are fixed. He'd probably beat everyone at that too. That's right. Yeah, it's strange. I think that comes to mindset. I think he was just so hard upstairs that he had such self-belief, and he'd done the work that when he put his foot on the line, didn't matter what happened. Didn't matter how many waves hit him, he was going to beat them no matter what. Yeah. And it just showed that he was a phenomenal athlete, and he smashed it. But again, like he's probably a victim of his own shyness, or not really wanting to have a profile. Because he, when he was winning, that's when Nutrigrain was sort of not struggling, but that's when it wasn't as popular, because he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't like cocky. He wasn't brash. He wasn't like saying nobody can beat me, and then it just maybe suffered because of that as well. I don't think. I think suffered isn't a good enough word. I think what it is, and I'm going to put Zane in the same boat. Both Shannon and Zane were the ultimate professional. Yep. They would go down the beach. They'd set their umbrella up. They wouldn't move from their seat. Whereas the Clayton would be jumping around from tent to tent, eating everyone's food, having a great time. By the time the final of the Aussie Ironman comes, I'm gone. I'm sunburned. I'm cooked. I've seen every mate from all over Australia. Yeah. Those two haven't moved a seat, mate. They are the ultimate professional. And whether that was a detriment to our sport, I wouldn't say that. They're such top athletes in the way. No, maybe not to the sport. Yeah, but maybe to the promotion or the what's the word, like the promotion side of it, or like the commercial side of it. I don't think it's there. It comes back to them. I think it comes back to the people that were leading them. Yeah. I don't think it's them at all. They were great athletes. They were great people. They spoke really well. There was no reason why you couldn't grab both of those two and make them a household name. Yeah. I think, Shannon and Zane have been two of the best in our sport, and that era, it showed that they were professional. They would turn up. They weren't there to promote it. They were there to do their job. Yeah. And you know what? They'd win races over and over because they did their job. And it's up to the promotion to find a way to promote that 100%. Person. Yeah. So it's not them. It's the sport. Yeah, I guess that's the wrong way of putting it. It's not that they made it suffer, but it's more that it wasn't able to. You know what I mean? Like if they had had a real rivalry where one guy was a real arrogant prick and the other guy was like a real. Yeah, it would have been might have helped, sport. Yeah. And maybe that's also probably why Kane came so good, because you talk about you wanting to always beat the older guys. Yep. Well, it's pretty hard to beat. He had the best person in the world, Next
has
to
his
him is
older
his brother.
and he wants to beat him every time. So naturally, it's probably going to happen.
It's like a Cool and Get a Gold, the movie relived, isn't it?
Again, but you look at that, like the Cool and Get a Gold. How that's one of those races that isn't real.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough spectator sport to watch.
It's boring. It's boring. My thoughts on that, they've got to stop doing it every year. They've got to make it a real privilege for people to do it.
Like an Olympic style
Yeah,
one.
totally.
Like
every 4 years.
Yep.
And let people, have a year or two off, because it's really draining to train for the cooling. You've done it. To train for that base and get yourself ready. Even if you're a punter, it's hard work.
Yep.
The wife, the kids, the school, the work, whatever it is, it's hard work.
It's long.
Man. Yeah. And it's mentally draining.
Yeah.
Make it every 4 years and time it so that it doesn't time with the world titles.
Yeah.
Because the fact that they have the world titles in October and then the same month or 4 weeks later, you've got to choose whether you go to the worlds or you go and do the gold.
Yep.
It's killing our sport. They just got to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah. That makes sense. Hey, look at us, jeez.
Yeah, we're getting
into
it.
Know. Tick, tick, tick.
Solving the problems.
We might get a phone call after this about.
No.
Yeah. I'm going to need you two to come in and got some great ideas. I'll be the one getting laughed at. I'll get laughed out of the place, but
not at all.
Mind, it happens. So with your open water stuff now, where's that headed? Like, what are your plans for that? I know you got one of those. You got an up north.
I do. Weekend. So one thing that happened with me when I started doing this, and this is the main reason I've gone down that avenue, is that it changes people's lives.
Yep.
When you do surf club and you coach kids that have been coached since they're nippers, the appreciation level's pretty small. They just expect you to coach them. They expect you to get them to the best. And I'm not having a go at anyone. That's just the nature of the beast. But when you get the average punter who comes down, who's scared of the ocean, they're afraid of the ocean, they do not want to get in there, and swimming isn't a big byproduct of their life. When you actually take them in and you teach them and you see that change, I mean, I've had ladies coming up and crying saying, "You've changed my life," and
wow,
that's the buzz I get. So from that, Ty and I started our Sunday swim. From that, Hamilton Island, I'm working with them. We're going to have a week-long swim leading into their open water swim, which is the Whitehaven Classic. So people can come up with me and have an experience. It's not about, I'm not going to flog you, we're not going to swim all these Ks, but it's an experience. So we go out to Whitehaven, we've got a whole day.
Yeah.
We swim along Whitehaven with the turtles. We've got
awful place to swim, I would imagine.
Tough.
Yeah.
We've got a barbecue organised on the beach. We go up to Hill Inlet. We actually swim back around the other side.
Yep.
It's all about adventures and creating memories with people that are like-minded.
Yep.
So in open water swimming, if anyone comes to me, that means that they've made the first step.
Yep.
The second step is actually getting in the water. And in our Sunday, we had a couple of people that actually drove to the Sunday, hopped out of the car, walked over, walked back, drove off.
Really?
Had about 4 of them. And I saw 2 of them and finally got them in after 3 times that happened. They got in and now they're committed to doing it twice a week. They love it. So right now for me, it's about changing lives.
Yep.
It's giving people the opportunity to conquer their fears, get out there and have a wonderful time.
So why do people come and do open water swimming then? Like what? Because it's not an obscure sport. Mm-hmm. It's something that is. What are their goals generally like? Are they wanting to be more confident in the water? Are they wanting to learn just so they can for their kids? Like if something happens, they want to be able to help out, or is it something like people look at it and go, oh, "That's a goal I want to achieve"?
I'll break it down a few ways. First one being learning about the ocean. A lot of people don't know the ocean.
Yep.
They want to get more confident. I ran a course 2 weeks ago called Ocean Introduction. We sat up on Miami Hill and basically I explained how a wave's created, what wind does, what groundswell does, why it comes in, the topography of the bottom, why waves break certain waves. I ran down and then poured the dye in the water. They watched and saw it how it went out in the rip. Yep. We then go down with a tube on and we actually take them out in a rip and they learn how to control in a controlled environment in a rip. That's the first stage. Second one is I think a lot of people when they get to a certain age, exercise is really tough.
Yeah.
Running's really tough. Going to the gym's really tough. You're up against the mirrors and everyone else in the gym.
Yep.
Getting on a bike, you can hit by a car. When you get in the ocean, it's not invasive. Yeah. You're floating. You're having the great time.
No impact either.
There's no impact. It's not hurting your knees. It's not hurting your shoulders. I'll flog them sometimes. It hurts the shoulders. But it's all about getting out there. And
at the end of a session, you're not sore. You're
not
just,
at all.
You're tired, like lethargic.
Well, the third part of it, and you'd know it more than anyone, is the endorphins at the end of it, the buzz you get.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, this morning, I had a squad down at Tallabudgera, and we had a cracking morning. Now, these guys are really nervous about swimming around Tallabudgera headland.
Yep.
We actually swam around the point and came back into the beach on an outgoing tide. They'll text me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm still buzzing. What a great morning.
Wow.
So that's changing lives.
Yeah.
And compared to where you rock up, you've got your weekly program set with your surf club.
Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I can't believe that I actually get paid doing what I do.
Yeah. And it's that personal touch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're showing up, especially that guy like you were saying this morning, one-on-one.
Yep.
Like, what other sport can you go and get one of the best ocean swimmers going around?
That's right. Yeah.
Have a one-on-one lesson with you, and it's obviously more than like an athletic endeavour.
Well,
It's a sort of maybe even a spiritual endeavour for them where they want to be, you know.
so Damien, a guy that has come down from Brisbane, he's actually booked in for the whole school holidays. He's a school teacher.
Yep.
And he wanted to go in every single day, which we've done. When he started, I'm going to be honest, he struggled. He'll listen to this, and Damien, you know you struggled.
Yeah.
Today we had a really big breakthrough. And a big breakthrough was that he wasn't taking a full breath. So I do these drills over and over and over again.
Yep.
And today was his breakthrough day where he went from puffing out after 20 strokes to getting across Talabudgera, not a problem at all.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb moment. And right now, in one go, after 6 sessions, I've changed that guy's life, because for the rest of his life, he'll be able to be comfortable to swim on his own without me, with other groups of people, and he'll be able to breathe and be totally fine with it.
Because that's one thing people really underestimate. Like, I remember when I was younger, we'd do like lifeguarding back in New Zealand, and any person that I pull in out of the water that was in trouble,
Puffing.
it was panicking. There was panic involved. They weren't unfit necessarily. They just got themselves in a bad position. It all came down to panic. And I'll even remember the day at Karawa when we went out in huge waves. I think I went out with you and Kai Hurst, and I remember thinking, Mike James too was out there.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I'm probably like, if they're confident, like that shouldn't give me any sort of faith, because like the other best swimmers going around, and like if I'm nervous, or I think you said to me, oh wow, it's pretty big out here, and I remember thinking, fuck, if he thinks it's big, I'm in all sorts of trouble here, because Kai was like, yeah, it's, you know,
it's sizey.
or they were saying, yeah, it's pretty, you know, shit, we better be careful. I'm thinking, fuck, if they got to be careful, like anyway, we got away with it, and I remember almost thinking, and the waves are so big, but I remember like physically thinking to myself that I can't panic.
Yeah.
And then it all became very easy. And we stayed with you the whole time, like, and cruised in, and I think we did it a couple of times, and the third time just was second nature to me. But I remember thinking that once that panic is gone out of your mind and out of your lungs, it just became easy. Like, it really wasn't actually as difficult as you make it. But if I really had let myself get worked up about it,
you're gone.
I could have been in all sorts of trouble.
Well, what panic does is it creates an environment where you burn off everything inside. So your oxygen goes really, really fast. When you relax and you take a full breath right down low, most people swim and they shallow breathe. So they only breathe to their chest. That runs out really quick.
Real quick, yeah.
Yeah, and once you learn to relax, and if you relax, like Kai's one of the greatest of all time, to watch him go under a wave. I'll tell a quick little story of Kai. We were down at Tube.
Be very careful. He's meant to be coming in here, but he's brushed me at the moment.
Has he?
Hold of him.
This is a cracking story. So this just showed me the level of skill that guy has. It's phenomenal. We were at a carnival at Tugun. The surf was probably 5-6 foot, really pumping. Last race of the day was the Taplin. I was the second last swimmer. I was tagging him. As I tagged him, we were in about 9th. He's watching everyone go out, and at Tugun, there's probably about 7 or 8 waves in a row.
Yeah.
And you got to do a bit of work to get out.
Yep.
He said, watch this. He goes, I'm not even going to take a stroke on the way out. So it's a long way out just to get to behind the break. He's in 9th. I tag him 9th. He goes, watch this, just jogs in, just does his first dolphin dive, goes under, second dolphin dive. He didn't take a stroke and just dolphin dived the whole way out, got out the back first. So while everyone's panicking and swimming like a maniac on the top of the water, he's just on the bottom, running along the bottom. He just played with him. Came in, he won it by that far. It's not funny. It's just like, oh my gosh, you are next level.
He's got to be the best ever.
Yeah.
Has to be. Like, I just can't, I don't know enough about, you know, all the people from previous days, but I remember the same thing, seeing him at a race in, might have been at Surfers. Might have been, I can't actually remember where it was, but there was like the waves were coming in, they'll break, and then there was a bank. And then there was like a gutter of water.
And he went through it.
But he did the dolphin underneath there.
Beautiful.
And everybody's swimming through. Yeah. And like every single person, even like the top guys, were like falling off the wave, swimming through and picking up the next one.
Yep.
He just dolphined and stayed on the same one through the gutter.
That's right.
And he just came out in front.
Well, as you get caught in that little vacuum, it sucks you along while everyone's swimming up here.
He's
getting pulled along, and then he just pops through the front.
But he timed it so perfect. He just went one breath and up, and then just goes straight in. I think it's when he just came back from... when he came back to Karawa just after he'd been at the Olympics? Yeah. It was not long. One of the first few races.
To explain to people, he's next level.
Yeah.
Like there's us, and there's the fish.
He's the closest thing to a dolphin.
That's right, yeah.
There is,
I can't remember the exact figure, but we had a bit of a test to see who had the biggest set of lungs, and I think it was out of him and Trev, and I think he beat Trev. I think he got like, I don't know the exact figure, maybe 8.5 or 9 litre lungs.
Yeah.
I think I was like 4. Wasn't very good. It's nothing.
It's got to be a boost of the ego.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And you got to blow it and the balls go up.
Yeah.
Oh, like I got one pipe up and he's got the whole lot.
Yeah.
Is
I
there
think
another
Lance
one?
Armstrong's the same. I think he's got massive set of lungs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
We won't get into that.
His might be
Yeah.
his might
Induced.
be yeah, good,
Induced.
yeah. A few Mexican supplements.
But he still won him, didn't he?
Well, that's it. There was a photo up of him that they made him take down. It was him lying on the couch, and it's all his, I think it was 7 yellow jerseys he won.
Yeah.
Or like, and he's sort of like lying down, and he's like,
I've seen that.
basically, you'll never take them away from me. But then he spoke about it and said like that. These people messaged him, oh, you're drug cheat. But you had to go back to 18th place to find the next person to award the yellow jerseys to.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're the best cheat.
Yeah.
You're
We won't get into that.
yeah.
Luckily, our sport is being drug free. So we've got an environment where people. Has there been anyone that's taken steroids?
I don't know.
Oh, you know more than I do.
I just know how many people have been tested.
Oh, thousands. Do you know something I don't?
No.
Oh my gosh. Come on, Jono. Let it out.
Not on here. I don't know anything.
Oh, okay. Let's have a chat after it, eh?
No, I'm just
Wowza.
It's a drug-free sport, which is a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad you do.
Moving on.
Yeah. The about Kyle. Yeah, I just remember being, and he was another one of those people who had an aura about him.
He still does.
Did. Yeah.
Still does.
Very
He's-
much so.
Everything he touches, he's the best at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he decided to become a sailor.
And killed it. And,
I was thinking-
and won the
And it
won
sort
the
of
World
came out
Cup.
of nowhere. I was thinking, where'd that come from? Like,
Yeah, I remember when it all happened, and he told me prior to it all happening, and
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, just you got to don't tell a soul." And
Yeah.
when he told me, I'm like,
a sailor.
What?
Yeah.
I thought he was taking the
Yeah.
piss.
But I remember thinking, how cool was that? Like, that's such a transition that you never.
Make sure you get him in to tell the story. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it, but make sure you get
Oh,
him to tell
I've
him
got to
how
get him
that
in. He's going
happened.
to come in today. I think he's camping.
Yeah.
Cruising around camping. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you look at guys like, imagine a guy like Clinton Robinson or someone like that would have been able to transition into something similar like that if there was an avenue that they could go down. Because it is a good ski paddler would be an unreal person at that grinder, the grinder at the the
Clint would have killed that.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think it, and I'm not going to shun off any of Kai's stories, but he'll talk you through how it all happened and the test he had to go through. It's
Nice.
it's unreal.
Yeah, that'd be
It's
wicked.
actually entertaining. You're like, what?
Really?
Yeah, it's really
that's
good.
cool.
Really good.
I'll get him.
Yeah.
In here. Nice.
The one thing with Kai that made Kai so special was that similar to that kid that I just spoke about, Kai Kinsella,
Yep.
he would, and you remember when we were at Kurrawa, we go out. Remember how long we body surf for?
Oh yeah,
Like 3-4
Yeah, it
hours.
was unreal.
We go out and we just keep doing it. And the biggest thing is you don't ever practice what's always going to happen. You practice the obscure stuff. So going up the lip and getting smashed, and you got to get used to the most unpredictable thing, because when a race happens, it's not going to be a perfect green wave riding up for you. It's going to break right in your head. You got to learn what to do in a tricky situation. And he did it so often that it became second nature. So when a race came, it was just muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And I think he spent a lot of time like doing. I remember driving down Bermuda Street, and then I said, "Oh, there's Kai running."
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the day and things like that. Like you do the extras.
Yeah.
Or he'd send me a message back when he came back. He's like, "Oh, I'm going for a paddle." It was like 10 o'clock. I'm going for a paddle. From Kurrawa up to Burling back if you keen. Oh, mate, I'm working.
Yeah, that's
Like
it.
I don't.
He does it. I think he's
I
trying.
would love to, mate, but I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could come back now, and with 6 months training, would be up there with the leaders.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Because it's one of those things like you see like footy players and things like that. They know they can read the game so well. You read it so well. All of them needs a bit of conditioning and a bit of
That's right.
figure out. Oh yeah, okay, that's how that goes.
And he's got a set of lungs on him.
Yeah.
He can get that air in and hold it. And we did one race when we were both getting tagged for the lifesaver relay, and we ran in together. And I'll never forget it. We dived under a wave, crystal clear at Kurrawa.
Yeah.
And under one wave, I went streamline as quick as I could. He did his dolphin kick underwater streamline. Mate, he would have put 20 metres into me under one wave. I came up, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Where's he
That
gone?
was one wave.
Yeah.
It was just embarrassing.
How do you compete against that?
Yeah,
It doesn't work.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nice. No, it's an adventure full. Like it's such a great. It's such a healthy sport as well. Like that. Are your kids involved now?
They are. So my son Jet is 15. He's down at Burleigh. My daughter Shire, she's 12.
Yeah. Wow.
You remember when he was a little
I
boy?
do. Yeah.
So what year did you join? It would have been 2012.
No, it wasn't that. It was earlier than that. It was 10.
2010.
10.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that I came over from New Zealand. But yeah, so he would have been 5. He was only little. He was only really little.
He would have been, what's that? He was 2005, so he would have been 5 years old.
5 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
And so now he's riding.
He's bigger than me.
Yeah.
He's gone past me.
Yeah.
And he loves it. His nickname's Social. He loves hanging out with the kids. We had 13 over at our house last night, staying at our place. So
Oh, really? Jeez.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're in the perfect little bubble too, there being right in Burleys, because most of you're swimming in the Tallybudger Creek.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't drive there very often. I usually just walk over with my backpack on and do my session, and then some days I do it at Burleigh. But one thing I like to do as well is mix it up. So anyone that does book with me, I don't do it in just Burleigh and Tally. Currumbin Creek's amazing. We've got the best locations.
Yeah.
Coolangatta, when there's a southerly blowing, you can get in there and get Tweed Heads, Coolangatta, and swim along to Kira.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal locations, what we've got here in the Gold Coast.
So a lot of what you're doing as well, just to go back to that panic thing, I wanted to speak about as well, was how much of it's actually teaching people to relax.
A lot, nearly all of it.
Nearly all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a little breath thing on the dry land.
Yep.
I set out a 10-metre course, and they hold their breath in once. They walk down the 10 metres, and they can only breathe out and breathe in once. They just got to do it 5 times. Most people can't do it.
Yeah, wow.
And you're standing on the land. I say, look, you're not going to drown.
Yeah.
Worst that's going to happen is you're going to take a breath. So once you teach it on the land, you then take it out. And for instance, with Damien, the guy I did today, we started off and we did 6 strokes with no breath, and then you relax. Then you move that up to 8. Then you move it up to 10. He got to 20 today.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that 6 sessions ago couldn't swim 80 metres without stopping and put his hand up and panicking. So then I translate the fact that he can hold his breath for 20 strokes and swim under stress. When we go out in the surf, you teach him about the periods of the wave. The period of a wave is 9 seconds. You can hold your breath for 20 seconds because you did it there. And he's like, oh. All of a sudden the consonant comes, the panic drops, and the ability to go out in the surf is much easier.
Have you looked at doing any of those? Because I know when I saw you swimming last year, early in the year, we were doing some run swims around Burleigh. Have you looked at doing any of those races?
What do you mean by that?
The run swim races. Have you seen any of them? Have you looked into doing any of them?
Well, Ty runs one, so he runs the Australia Day one. So
where's that?
At Burleigh Head. So Australia Day.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest community events ever. So I think
Is that not the one in the pool?
No.
Is that the one that's on the pool?
No, that's one of them. But the one on Australia Day is down at Burleigh.
Yeah.
You do your 400-metre swim out at Burleigh, and then you come in and you got to run 4K.
Oh,
so
yeah, I know that one, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's been going, I think they're 11 years.
These are the run swim run races where it's like, it's both, and you swim with your shoes on.
Oh, no, I have seen those.
I'm thinking...
Yeah.
You'd go red hot at one of those.
Oh, I'd love to do stuff like that. I'm actually just talking with Valare. So Valare Wetsuits has been fantastic this year, and we're actually coming up with a wetsuit for that event.
Yeah.
Where you can actually it'll have a clip for your pool boy.
Yeah. My one's got that.
Oh, you got that?
An Orca one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So same scenario.
Yeah. I did one in Wanaka in April.
I hooked you up with Guy, remember?
No, that was for a different one. That was for an adventure race. That was like mountain biking and stuff as well. This is like a run swim.
How did that go?
Yeah, I got through it. Yeah. It was about 15 kilos ago. But I did one in Bay of Islands the year before as well.
Yeah.
And that was just unreal. You should put it on your bucket list of things to do.
So I think the world's trend, like they're moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Getting away from the start line, finish line, win at all costs. I think it's getting away from that. And it's all about the adventure and the experience.
100%. And that's because if you sell it as an adventure, not a race, so many more people are and because it automatically becomes about finishing, not a stress on what your result is.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Oh, totally.
Because the race we did in Bay of Islands, I did it with a friend of mine's dad, and he was 62.
Yeah,
it took us 8.5 hours.
That's just crazy.
But it was like, I think it was close to 13k of swimming.
Yeah,
and
that's intense.
Almost 30k of running.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, of like all through the Bay of Islands. So you'd like swim to an island,
gorgeous,
run. It was incredible, like a bucket list thing to do. Yeah. But it was the adventure. Like, we didn't really care. I mean, there are guys that compete and want to win, like 100%, and these guys were red hot. But it became about the adventure, and we just enjoyed it. And what we made sure we did is every time we got to the top of like an island we were on, we'd stop and make sure we just took 10 seconds to have a look at everything we did and
embrace the moment.
Yeah. We do it in pairs too, so that's what's cool about it.
That's what my ultimate goal is. That obviously COVID hit, and it's really hurt my Hamilton Island, because a lot of my target market were going to be New South Wales and Victoria coming up to Queensland. They can't come now. So my end goal is that I want to have events where it finishes with a swim event all around the world.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Oh yeah,
there is swim events all around the world. Now, the people that are coming to Hamo are never going to win it. They're not going in it to win it. It's all about the experience. So they'll come to Hamo and have the best week leading up to it.
Yep.
And then they finish with their swim race. So they're doing the 2.5K Hamilton Island endurance race.
Yep.
And then they have the fun day Sunday.
Yeah.
And the experience they get we're going to take that to Phuket. We're going to take it to the Maldives. We're going to take it to Hawaii, and we're going to have a race in all of their open water swimming races.
And it becomes an adventure for the people more than just
an experience.
Yeah.
We're selling as an experience.
Does that mean you have to? Does that mean you have to go and do recce's before the actual?
I do.
Yeah.
Bugger. Tick.
Yeah, I know. Business expense.
The wife's the operations manager. My son's the drone and the photographer, and my daughter's the customer relations.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about that? You got it sorted.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope swimming gets more. Yeah, but you're spot on with the achievement side of it to a race rather than because there's just so many. There's battlers out there, right?
There is, and they love it.
And they outweigh the competitive people
big time.
10-1,
big time.
But for a mile, so yeah, it becomes more about the experience. Well, I love the open water. You've got a good home for it.
You got to come down and have a swim with me one day.
I need to get back. Well, I actually was thinking about this when I was having you on. Just with me, with work, with this, like everything, my life's a bit of a rat race at the moment. Like trying to keep my business. I've got employees, like it's, and you start to begin to neglect me, which I'm very good at.
It's about everyone else,
about everybody else, and wife and kids, and everything becomes more important than what you're doing.
I know that.
And then what happens is your health suffers, your mental health suffers, and you don't actually become a good
role model.
Yeah, good role model, and you don't become a good example to the people in which you're
trying to teach,
or my employees or people who I'm speaking to, And I think a lot of that was because I ended up until I started doing that run swim race, because I signed up. My wife, wasn't me, because she's like, you have to have something you're doing in order to show up.
You got to commit to something.
Yeah, I can't do anything for my health unless I have an end goal.
Yeah,
which is it's bad.
That's the old clubby in you.
Yeah, it's bad. It's like because and also, do you know I even still think about things as seasons.
There you
it's
go.
Weird. Like I think when the summer ends, I get a little bit depressed, and I'm like, oh man, I've got to.
Winter's here.
Yeah. But
party time.
Yeah, party time. But you guys party in the summer too. But so like I thought about that. What I'm missing is. I spend every day in the ocean, as you know, like twice a day. And then you go from that to, I think there was almost probably a year where I didn't even go on the ocean at all.
I just couldn't do that.
And I think that's what you end up missing because there's a certain, like you say, there's a certain like endorphin.
Totally. I'm still buzzing now.
Yeah. Endorphin rush you get from doing it where you just go, all I gotta do is go down for a swim half an hour in morning time. That's all I need. Like I comfortably can go for a half an hour swim now.
4 laps, 5 laps of tally.
Yeah, and then you're done and you're in, and like it's a fresh day.
Yep.
So yeah, I do. It's something that I've identified as that I'm probably missing.
What are you doing Thursday morning?
I don't know. Might be coming out.
There you go.
What time?
5:30 in the water.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Okay, there we go.
Something like that.
Everyone heard that. So you're committed.
This won't come out for 2 weeks now. No, but you're right though. Like
you need someone to push you there.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a little bit of a weakness because you need to want to do it for yourself. And I think sometimes you need just that Kickstarter, which is something like you're doing. Like maybe you're speaking with these people and they need that Kickstarter to be like, okay, well I'm going to throw myself in the deep end, literally being in the ocean, and that's going to be my Kickstarter to get my shit together.
Well, this morning I dived in at 6 o'clock, my first one, and Trevor's there with Zane Hamill and all the guys from Surface.
Yeah. And
they just do a big swim, and they swam from Tally across. They ran down the opposite side, the northern side.
Yeah.
They swam all the way out, swam along down to the first groin at Palmy.
Yeah.
And they said a huge pot of dolphins swam past them.
Yeah, wow.
Stock standard with Trevor. They always turn up to say hello to him.
Of course they do.
He's in touch with the ocean. He's unbelievable. Did you see his footage of the whale?
Yes, I think I did see that.
Oh my gosh, how good's that? And TJ says come on underneath and have a listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Everywhere he goes, that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
crazy.
you saying that, like, if you want to know where the surf's good, you call Trev.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what's the go? And he'll have an in-depth.
He's very good.
He's
in
in-depth
touch.
discussion.
Yeah. It's
he's
pretty cool.
He's a crazy cat. We had a good chat in here. Like, he's very, very holistic, but also has got I quite admire the way he looks at things. Like, it's not, there's no ego. Like, he talks about getting rid of his ego and things like that, which is...
He's not like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's fun. He's fun to be around. Yeah.
It's
good. Something always happens. When you go with him, if you go surfing with him, it's going to be barreling off its head and you're going to get 30 tubes or a whale's going to come or a dolphin or something's always going to happen when you're with him. It's good.
And like you're saying, that's not luck.
No, it's
there's something
that's
weird.
consistent.
Yeah, there's something weird. Yeah. nice.
At one.
Might have to hit him up.
Yeah.
Take me on one of those foil boards.
Why don't you go Monday morning with him? I'm going to put you under the pump. I'm going to ring him up. I'm going to get you to go and do the run soon next Monday morning with him at Tally Creek.
Mate, have you seen the size of me at the moment? I
Doesn't
can't
matter.
run to save myself.
Up here.
I'll figure it out.
It's just muscle memory. You know what to do.
That's the thing, like Trev, he's still got it, I'm assuming, in the water too.
Yeah, he does it very easy.
Yeah.
Carla was with him as well. She swims along. She's still swimming
just
as fast as what she did in the old days. Yeah.
Nice. Easy. All right, mate, well, I better let you go. Got a busy day ahead of you.
Thank you. Been
I
great
have
fun.
to. Yeah, catch
I
up.
look
We'll have
forward
to
to
have you
seeing
in
you next Monday.
for round 2.
Okay, sounds
yeah,
good.
get those stories ready.
All right.
I appreciate coming. It's good to catch up. Like, we haven't spoken for some time. And
We didn't really touch on stories, did we?
No.
Yeah.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, I think so. There's
Good.
some we can tell and some we can't.
Yeah. All right, mate.
Thanks,
Easy.
Jono.
Take care.
See you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.